Hey all, so we're going to try and make the Beatus look a little bit better. Picked up a bumper for it. Bought it off of someone on Facebook Marketplace, but realistically, with the gas I spent on the van getting it, I probably could have just bought it new for the same price or cheaper, but whatever. It's perfectly fine aside from it's got some gouges over here that I think I actually did moving it around. So the whole thing's going to get scuffed. I'm going to sand those so that they're less obvious. Then I'm going to spray the whole thing silver so it can go on the car. Alright, so that's all scuffed down and cleaned up and prepped. I went and had 2 cans of the silver for that car mixed up. This is just off of the paint code, so it's may not be an exact match, but the paint on the car was too rough on the bumper area, because I brought the little cap, the little toe cap in to try and match it, and it was in too rough a shape, so they couldn't match it. So this is still going to look better than it's on anyway, even if it's not a perfect match. I'm going to shoot this whole thing. I'm hoping, I have 2 cans of this, but I'm hoping I can do the bumper with 1. Because if I have paint left over, there's a couple other spots in the car I'd like to make look a little bit better. But the goal right now is to get this bumper painted. And there it is painted. I ended up having to put a lot more coats than I wanted on it because the paint was going on very blotchy, so I just had to keep covering to get solid coverage. Now this is a 2-stage paint. I'm going to be putting clear over it, but that's going to happen in a little bit. This has to, have a chance to dry a little bit. The scratches actually made it worse because I sanded it and didn't sand down enough in terms of getting out the scratches from my sanding, but whatever. Still going to look better than the bumpers that's on the car by a long shot. Yeah, I mean, eventually I got the coverage I wanted, but I'm not super happy. This paint took a lot to cover. I got spray paint. I'm noticing a spot that I didn't get enough coverage. I got spray paint because I didn't want to spend the money on real paint for just a bumper, but I think I would have gotten better coverage and had more paint left over, which would have let me do more on the car. So maybe false economy there, but it's good enough. It's silver, it's shiny. That's the important part. It's going to match the car well enough to look good, and it's not going to have a giant hole in it like the one that's on the car right now. Clear's on. The clear was spitting too, so the clear is inconsistent. That part actually really pisses me off because striping in the clear is a lot more obvious. I don't know. It's good quality stuff, it just all doesn't seem to want to work today. I don't know if it's just bad luck or old paint or what it is. Let's see that out a little bit. But yeah, just I'm not getting a good clear coat. I'm getting a spotty clear coat, which looks like butt. But again, I guess it'll be better than what's on the car now because the front bumper clear coat's all failed. So I'll take what I can get. So this is going to dry, and then in a day or so I'll put this on. Alright, the other part of make Project Beatus look a little less Beatus-y is this is where I did the metal repair. And a couple of weeks ago now, this is how much time I haven't been able to devote to projects, I shot this with the epoxy primer the same time I did the van, and that was just to seal the rust repair that I did here. So now what I need to do is give this a very quick sand. I'm not worried about the ugly edges and whatnot because Beatus Prius, but I want to give this a very quick sand to just give it some tooth, and then I'm going to spray with the same silver that I painted the front bumper with, so that I can then clear coat it so that this repair will also go away. Beatus does have this damage as well over here, where this was clearly bashed in and then hammered back out, which cracked the paint, and there's some pretty significant rust there. I don't know if I'm going to get to this as part of the job, just because I've got to take the bumper off, I've got to grind all this back, I've got to do a little bit of body work here, and then paint this and whatnot. So I just, because of the long delays and being able to do anything on this car because my partner's using it nearly constantly, means I don't know if that's going to get done. But or at the very least we're going to get some paint on this. Time to swap the bumper out. I've never taken the bumper off the front of this Prius, so it's going to be an adventure in finding screws and little plastic clips and stuff. Also going to be changing out the washer pump, so you're going to probably see me disassemble that corner a bunch. That has nothing to do with the bumper. That's just trying to change out the sprayer pump. All right, bumper is off. This bolt here, which is also the retainer for the hood bumper, was so frozen in place that I stripped it and then started bending the bracket rather than unscrewing it, so I had to cut that off. So that's a thing I will have to deal with. Toyota, in their infinite wisdom, decided that these two under trays that are like this needed separate bolts in separate places, one of which is covered by the other, in order to hold them on instead of just using the same bolt to hold both. So that was a pain in the butt. But it's off. I need to transfer clips. I need to take out the fog lights and the fog light grills and the license plate holder and the chrome strip here from this bumper. Transfer those all to the new bumper, and then I can get that on. It can be assembled without that, so I'm not too worried about it. I may try and fix it now, I may try and fix it later. Depends on how much of a pain the rest of this stuff is. All right, and there we go. Bumper is on. The clips that hold the top here I have to replace because they disintegrated coming off, and then those two stops for the hood, the rubber bumpers, I'm going to need to get new hardware because those were all rusted. But other than that, it went together okay. I had to, you saw I had to put a zip tie in here to keep these in. Funny, cheap no-name bumper and cheap no-name grill don't line up perfectly, but with those they're perfectly solid. It's completely invisible that I had to do that. Looks pretty good. I mean, the shine is not great, but I knew that was going to be a problem as soon as I sprayed it because that clear coat was just kind of crap. But I mean, the car looks so much better now. It's not all scratched up, it's not all beat up, it doesn't have a giant hole in it, it doesn't have all the zip tie repairs, so massive improvement. Massive improvement. I'm happy with it. I'm going to get those hardware, I'm going to finish it up off camera. Still on the lookout for another silver hood because this one's bashed in. I'm not going to bother to get a different hood and paint it. I don't need it that badly, but if I find a nice silver one, I'll replace that. As far as the corners of the dog legs are concerned, this has gotten its clear coat on it. The clear coat went on better here for some reason. I don't know why. But obviously I did no body work. I want to be very, very clear. This was just welded in, ground down, and done. But that looks massively better because you can't see the repair at a glance. You know, from here, you have to be looking to see if something's been done there. So that's nice. So the car looks better there. The rear bumper could use a repaint, but with the poor quality that I had with the front bumper. Also, there's a whole new scuff on this corner. Let me tell you the story about that scuff. My partner was driving the car to work, and all the dashboard lit up, all the emergency lights, the big red triangle of death popped up. But it was still driving, so she called me, asked me what's up. I said I had no idea, but if it seemed to be driving okay, then either drive it home or drive it to work, because either she's gonna have to drive something else to work or she's gonna have to get home from work. Like, those are our two worst case scenarios, and we have AAA, so whatever. So she drives it to work. She finishes her day, she gets out, she goes to start the car. I can't remember now. Yeah, no, it wouldn't start. It wouldn't do anything. It would just light up all the emergency lights, nothing would happen. So we get the car towed home. We bring it home. We do a little bit of research. The chief things that it could be are the 12-volt battery is dead, the hybrid battery is dead, or some other major electrical problem. So we pull out the 12-volt battery as the easy solution. Test it, needs to be replaced. So we replace it. And she knew she was really low on gas because when we replaced the combination meter in the dash, it made the gas gauge slightly inaccurate. There's a tip sensor or something in it that affects the reading of the gas gauge that makes the gas gauge slightly inaccurate, like a quarter of a tank at most. But she knew she needed gas. So as soon as we put the battery in, car's working fine. We get in it, we go to drive to the gas station around the corner, tries fine for a little bit, and then asks weird and dies. So it's like, okay, well, let's try and get to the gas station. Start it back up, goes, X weird dies. Start it up, X weird dies. Then it won't kick on the gas engine and is trying to run off the hybrid battery, and that gets us like half a block, and then it dies, and then it just won't go into gear at all. Won't start the gas engine, won't go into gear. At which point I said, well, we got to get it home or to the gas station or something. So I like, well, maybe it's out of gas. I'll go to the gas, I'll go home, I'll get gas, my gas can and the wagon, drive back out, we put gas in it, still won't do anything, still doing the exact same thing. I drive to the gas station, put more gas in the gas can, drive back, put that in the tank, still acting weird, still won't do anything. At which point it's like, okay, well, we got to get it home. We're not going to call AAA to have it towed like 2 blocks. So I push it so that we can turn it around. Like, I push it backwards and then I push it forward, and it's a slight incline, so I give her a good shove, send her down the hill, get in the wagon, follow behind. We get close to the first light and it starts dying, like just slowing to a crawl. So I bump it with the wagon, give it a good shove. We do that a couple times to get it home. That's how I put that big scuff in the back bumper turning into the driveway. We get it home. She tries it once, starts up, runs fine. Turns out we'd managed to kill the battery and run out of gas at the same time, which was just a surreal combination that made the car completely lose its shit. But anyway, yeah, a whole confused day, a whole bunch of sitting mess out of the road, all this stuff. No cameras, I couldn't film any of it. But anyway, that's it. Story time's over. Talk to you later. Bye.